Alright, welcome to this part of the video. We got the engine in, we got the 4-inch lift in. Now it's time to do the body and paint. We're not going to do a complete paint job on this, we're just going to do certain areas. I pointed out before in other videos, the rust on this vehicle is pretty minor. Just basically surface rust. I'm going to start off sanding. There is a little bit of body rust on the back corner, which isn't all that serious. But I'm going to be using an orbital sander. We're going to sand with a 100 grip pad on the hood, because all the hood's peeled away. And well, it's not peeled the paint yet, but the paint's all cracked, so we're going to deal with that. The rust on the front. And we're going to drink some beer because I hate body work. I hate it with a passion, but it's got to be done, so let's get cracking. Everything's done, we're ready to start sanding. Got the wipers off. Mirrors are off because we're going to redo the hood. Side of the fenders here, obviously the front here. Gonna redo the doors. Not sure about the sides. The back is good. Not gonna worry about the back. Gonna redo the brackets. Same thing with on this side. Get some dents in the door and shit, but we'll see how it's gonna play out. Here's the front of the grill right here. We're gonna sand the grill off first. Part of the fenders in the front. We'll see how it's gonna turn out afterwards. The front part is roughly done now. I'm gonna sand the hood. I don't have to be as aggressive on the hood as I was on the front grille because the front grille was all pitted. So I'm going to use my snap-on palm sander here. I'm going to use 150 grit. Because basically all I want to do is just cut the top of the paint off with all the roughness and then smooth it out. That way I can throw a coat of primer on it and then paint it again. So I'm going to go ahead and sand that. There's the front. Still a little bit on the rough side, but you know the basic of it is done. You can see where the rust is already getting through to the metal, but I just took it right down to the metal, sanded right down. And the hood, like I said, I hope you can see that pitting or cracking. I'm going to sand that off. You sanded down quite a bit on the fender, right down there. Of course there's some sections that are bad. Pretty much had to sand that right down to the metal. And then the hinges, of course, sanding them down as well. I'm going to take the one hinge off and completely do it. But the cracks in the hood, we're restricted to the clear coat paint, so once you get past that, it's all good. So this is where I'm leaving it at for now. I'm going to continue on throughout the week and try to get the rest of the body done. So just going to go over an update on the Jeep. I got the red stuff you see is not body filler, it's actually putty. And it's all because all those little tiny stone chips and shit like that. When I'm actually done sanding it, you won't even see it. But that'll help me from preventing from sanding it right down to the metal. Excuse me. And nextly, to deal with the flares, I have to grind those down a little bit, but I tack welded the nuts in there. I drilled the holes bigger and tack welded the nuts because before the Jeep uses these little shitty rivets that kind of press in, but over time they kind of rust and they start spinning, so you can't get them out. So when the new flares go on, these are the only two here, one there that I can't access with a wrench to tighten up, and I painted the one door handle. And at the back here I had a small dent I had to pull out, and I put some Bondo in there to sand, and then I gotta take the hinges off as well. And I'm probably going to, since it's corroded there, I'm probably gonna repaint this one little corner section. I got new hinges for the top, so not too worried about that. I just want to show you guys this. I've been sanding most of the hood, and remember I said the hood was cracking and you can still see there's still cracks. I haven't got the clear coat off yet. I still got to hit it a little bit harder because if I don't get rid of these cracks, there's a good possibility that once it's painted and sealed again that they might try to crack through the paint. So gotta try to get back on that, and then I want to get it hopefully masked off today or whatever. And we've got to get this thing primed. This project's been dragging on. I gotta get it done. So I'm just slowly getting things prepped and ready. Probably gonna hopefully paint the front end today. We're gonna see. Well, not paint, but we're hopefully gonna prime the front today. We're gonna see how that's gonna play out. Just hardest part is getting everything ready, because you gotta, anything that's shiny, you gotta make sure it's scuffed up, otherwise your paint can peel. So especially like all your edges inside all these cracks and shit like that, you got to make sure that's all done. It's a real time consuming process and a big pain in the ass. Alright, so now I got the Jeep right where I want it masked off, because I'm only going to do the front part today, prime it, because there's probably going to be a lot of work and most likely going to have to do touch up on a lot of spots like in the front, because once I use a high fill primer on it and sand it down, there's going to be some touch ups, because some parts going to need some extra work more than others. And I wiped it down with some Sure Wipe right there, and I haven't checked it or not, but I have a primer from a few years ago. I'm going to see if it's still good, and if it is, I'm going to mix it up and then spray this down. Alright, so that's my priming gun right there. It's got like a 1.8 or 2.2 mil tip, I can't remember now. It's really good for spraying high fill primer. There's the primer here, and we mix it with the activator 4:1. Then I'm going to reduce it down, make it easier to spray. So I'm just going to mix that up now. Got it all mixed up in the thing, just stirring it up. Activator, reducer, and paint's all in there, ready to roll. Alright, here we are. I like using the flat black primer because it shows up every little blemish you got. All those little paint cracks from before are showing up. So, but they might disappear after another coat of primer and then wet sand it. We're gonna see. But I did some sections. I didn't paint this in primer because it's just gonna be wet sanded down with the rest of the Jeep, and then the paint will just be blended in with it. But you can just kind of see the front half definitely had to been done. Alright, I managed to get 2 coats of primer on before I ran out of paint I mixed up. So I'm pretty satisfied. You can still see some little blemishes and shit like that. I might have to go back in and patch up, but not overly too worried about it. This isn't going to be a show vehicle, it's just a Jeep. I'm just trying to touch up the paint. So I did the front end. I'm going to wet sand it probably tomorrow, and then get the rest of it masked off, because I gotta do the door jambs here. This shit's all good. And then I got those right there. Got these hinges to do. Respray that back piece, and then we'll be pretty much ready to go. So I'm gonna leave the video at that. I know some people have been asking for some Jeep videos. Here's a Jeep video. Prepping for the paint, and painting is a time-consuming process. I'm doing my best. And once this is done, the rest of the video should move pretty quickly. So thank you for your patience. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.